Welcome to my channel. My name is Sheifunmi and this is Indigo Station, also another third eye video. So I am finally going to do a video that is not a third eye video, like it's just a vlog anyways. Not just a vlog, but it's a vlog. But yeah, so I am going to be doing that so I don't have to introduce that and say this is a third eye video. But yeah, so this video is about ways to face your shadow self, ways to deal with your shadow self, practical ways to deal with your shadow self and reframe your subconscious, embracing your shadow self and, living in your true authenticity and light. So the first thing is acknowledging that your shadow self, you have a shadow self or you have a shadow side. Accepting the fact that, okay, these things are there. You know what you're hiding from others. You know what you hide so well that you don't want other people to know about. So, yeah. So, being able to accept those shameful, critical aspects of yourself that your shadow self is something, or there are things that bubble up to the surface in your subconscious, right? In your emotional state, emotional being, that makes you use your hands to tear your own spirit down, to tear yourself down. Yes, they are the components for doing that anyways, but it's just one of those things that if you're reactionary, or you're quick to react if you haven't dealt with your shadow self. Let me just put it that way. So being able to accept your shadow self is a huge step. Accepting that, I think this aspect of my life, the reason why I behave like this is because of this. Being able to identify them and being able to link them to to their origin, to wherever they're coming from. Being able to see them clearly from all the perspective of how they've come to be is one of the steps. Another thing is being able to look at your shadow self, or when your shadow self presents itself, looking at your shadow self with less judgment, less shame. As a matter of fact, with no judgment, no shame. What am I saying? Less judgment, less shame. With no judgment, no shame. Just observing them. You sit down, relax, and watch your subconscious like it's a television. Just observing them play out, observing your ego, being bruised and lashing out. Just observing them and taking stock. Observing and taking stock. Mind you, while you're in this state, you are no longer actively being your shadow self. You're observing your shadow self. You're observing your shadow self. You being able to sit with your thoughts that are unacceptable. It's part of you that you're afraid to deal with, and not being judgmental, just observing. And even sometimes, it might be effective for you to interact. It depends on the kind of person that you are, because sometimes if you interact, it might take you back spiraling and you enter that activation of your shadow self, and you're becoming your shadow self again as opposed to observing. But one of the ways I interact is when I see my ego spiraling out, I'll just recognize that, okay, this is my ego. But ego, is this how the situation really is? And you start to see that your ego is like deflecting, starting to, the bubbles have been busted. So, and it's like, it's almost sometimes it would even look like your ego runs away from you, realizing that, they've been caught on their BS, or the ego has been caught on its BS. So being able to observe and interact, or even you can interact, observing and taking stock is very, very effective. Another thing to do, which is very difficult because you're dealing with the dark side of yourself, or a negative aspect of yourself that has brought you shame for many years, that has let you put yourself down, put you in these limitations, and put you in this entrapment of fear. But being able to observe your shadow self and laugh at your shadow self, and laugh that, so this is how this has come to be, this is what it is. It disempowers your shadow self. It disempowers your shadow side. Another effective way is writing, journaling everything you feel in regards to your shadow self, the emotions that come up with your shadow self. If you can't journal, record an audio, what's it called? A voice memo, audio notes, and just keep stock of them. Date them, keep stock of them. As a matter of fact, label them. You know, if you write, like when I write in my journals, or when I have something that's bubbling up in my emotions and I'm just sprinkling them out, I always have a title for them. So label them, and in that way you're taking stock of all your shadow sides, of every aspect of your shadow sides. Another thing is meditate. Meditate. Meditate helps you let go of all this entrapment and everything you've clogged your system and your container with. Remember, you're a container. You're not just a temple, you're a container. You're a container, you're a vessel. A vessel that of this magnificent creation. You know, you're a co-creator on this earth. So you're a vessel, you're a container of limitless abundance, resources, tools, and wealth, and everything you need to be all that you need to be and to accomplish your sole purpose on this earth. So meditation is very effective, and if you're going to meditate, do a lot of breath work meditation and do a lot of self-love meditation. You can check my videos for a guided meditation of self-love that helps you heal your heart and just re-energizes you. Another thing would be for you to focus on the good qualities of your shadow self. Yes, your shadow self comes with good qualities. It'll be shocking to know that your shadow self, it would make you overtly creative or superbly creative. So yeah, being able to look at the positive things or the positive aspects of your shadow self. For example, as much as I entrapped myself with fear a lot, it also kept me safe from doing things that would even further jeopardize my soul, really. So you have to look at the positive aspects of your shadow self, because for me, being fearful or being or living with fear or living in that state of fear made me very extra cautious, finicky. If a friend asks me to hang out, I have gazillion questions. I'm quick to say no. And at the end of the day, some of these situations, I missed out on certain opportunities as a result of fear and things like that, or good moments and fun moments. But a lot of times I come to realize that, good thing you kept to your guns, because that place was no good anyway. So you look at the positive side of your shadow self as well, and that is in being able to observe your shadow side. So another thing is verbalize your shadow side. For me, I think that is another part of my shadow self I'm still learning to accept, embrace, which is to verbalize my shadow self with someone else. I know I've done that with my therapist. I've spoken about my shadow side with therapists and the experiences that led up to my shadow self. But even if you've worked on your shadow self for years, sometimes the residue will come to test you. And I think that's a lot of what I've been experiencing. Even this trip as well has been about me looking at the residue of my shadow self. It's like, oh yeah, Shay, I get that you dealt with your shadow self. That's fine. I love that. That is beautiful. But here we have to clean it out. There's still a few things here, so let's look at them and clean them out. So that's some of the things I've experienced on this trip. So verbalize your shadow self. And the thing is, in some ways, I have verbalized my shadow self on this trip. Actually, thinking about it now, I have verbalized my shadow self on this trip without even actually realizing I did that. So eventually, I did verbalize my shadow self with someone else. Okay. For example, There was someone that I really needed to hear from, that I wanted to talk to, and the person has like serious bad phone etiquette, which I do too sometimes, or I used to. But like literally, it was as good as this person ghosting me, and my ego was bruised, shattered. And the way I verbalized it was calling out my ego and being like, oh, Sheifunmi, right now, your ego feels this way, that this person isn't replying to you, and your head is making shit up about what this person is probably, or why this person hasn't responded to you, or hasn't, checked in or responded to your messages. So being able to verbalize that disempowers, the ego that tries to fuel your shadow or your negative side or your shadow self. So I hope this video has been helpful, insightful, has enlightened you in some ways. So don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to click the notification bell so that every time I post a video, you'll be the first to know, and leave a comment. I literally want to talk to you guys in the comment section. Like, guys, talk to me about your shadow self. Tell me, give me the lowdown, and let's see if we can help each other in the comment section. Bye-bye.